Have you ever laid awake at night, staring at the ceiling, and quietly wondered, why am I even here? Not in a dramatic way, not in a depressed way, but in a deep, heavy, unanswered kind of way. You wake up, you go to work, you eat, you scroll, you sleep, and then you do it all over again. You do what you're supposed to. You play your role, you smile when you're expected to. You nod at the right time. But inside, there's a feeling that something's missing. You may not be able to describe it, but it's there. A quiet emptiness, a dull ache, like a song playing far away, that you can't quite hear, but you know it's there, calling you. The truth is, you're not alone. Most people feel this way. More than 90% of the world lives their entire life without ever discovering their real purpose. They survive, they perform, they build careers, they raise families, but they never feel fully alive. Because deep down, they've never answered the most important question. What was I made for? We live in a world that teaches us how to succeed, but not how to live meaningfully. We're taught to chase grades, get a job, make money, buy a house, start a family, look successful on the outside. But no one ever teaches us how to listen to the quiet voice inside. No one teaches us how to search for meaning, how to follow curiosity, or how to tune into the whisper that says, there's something more. And the saddest part is, most people don't even realize they're lost, because they're too busy being busy. They wake up at 7, rush through their day, scroll through distractions, and go to bed, without ever questioning if they're moving in the right direction. They confuse movement with progress. They confuse comfort with purpose. They confuse productivity with fulfillment. But you can feel it, can't you? You can sense that there's more to life than just going through the motions. Sometimes it takes a crisis to wake us up. A breakup, a job loss, a health scare, the death of someone we love. In those moments, we finally stop, and we ask, why am I really here? What does all this even mean? What's the point of everything I'm doing? And the answer doesn't come right away, because the world has made us forget how to listen. But here's the truth, it is never too late to begin living with purpose. It doesn't matter if you're 19 or 59. If you're just starting or starting over, your life still holds something powerful, something sacred, something only you were born to do. And in the next part, we'll explore the first reason why 90% of people never discover that purpose. It's not because they're not smart enough, or good enough, or lucky enough. It's because they live in a world that's so loud, they can no longer hear themselves think. Imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a loud, crowded street. Cars honking, people yelling, music blaring, advertisements screaming at you from every direction. Now someone walks up and whispers something important in your ear. Can you hear it? Of course not. That's exactly what life has become for most people today. Too much noise, too little clarity. Everywhere you turn, someone is telling you what success should look like, how to be happy, what job to get, what relationship to chase, what your life should look like by 25, by 30, by 40. Social media floods your mind. Every scroll tells you what you lack. Every like trains you to seek approval. Every post convinces you that someone else has it all figured out, and you don't. The world has become too noisy, too distracting, too fast, and in all that noise, we stop hearing the one voice that actually matters. Our own. See, your purpose isn't hiding. It's not lost. It's not gone. It's just buried under all the noise. You knew what lit you up when you were a kid. You had dreams, things that made your eyes sparkle, things you did for hours, without thinking of time or money. But as you grew up, the noise got louder. Adults told you to be realistic. Teachers said to stop daydreaming. Society said, that purpose doesn't pay the bills. So you listened, you muted your heart, and turned up the volume of the world. But here's the truth, you can't discover your purpose in a rush. You won't find it in noise, or in hustle, or in comparison. Purpose whispers. It doesn't shout, and you can only hear it when everything else gets quiet. You need stillness. You need space. You need silence to reconnect with what's already inside you. When was the last time you sat in silence? No music, no phone, no talking, just you and your thoughts. When was the last time you asked yourself, what do I really want? What gives me energy? What drains my soul? We rarely ask these questions because we're scared of the answers. Most people stay busy because busy feels safe. Busy gives us a sense of progress. even if we're running in the wrong direction. But clarity requires courage. You have to slow down, to look inward, to admit that maybe the life you've built is not the life you truly want. And that's scary, but it's the first step toward something real. The ones who discover their life's purpose aren't the loudest, they're not the busiest, they're the ones who create space to hear the quiet truth within. They take time to unplug, to journal, to walk in nature, to meditate, to ask uncomfortable questions, and to listen without judgment. That's when the whisper starts to return. That's when the fog begins to clear. That's when clarity finds you again. So ask yourself today, is your life too loud to hear what matters? And if it is, what noise do you need to turn down to hear your truth again? In the next part, we'll talk about another invisible force that stops people from ever stepping into their real mission. Not noise this time, but fear. The fear of being different. The fear of standing out. The fear of becoming who you really are. Let's be honest, most people aren't confused about what they want. They're afraid of what they want. You know what you're drawn to. You feel it, that idea that keeps coming back. That dream that won't die. That strange but beautiful pull towards something different. But every time it shows up, so does fear. What if people laugh at me? What if I fail? What if I change too much and others don't accept it? What if I disappoint my parents? What if I succeed and still feel empty? Here's the truth. The real reason most people never find their life's purpose is because they're terrified of being different. And purpose will always require you to be different. It will never fit neatly into what's popular, or what's safe, or what makes everyone else comfortable. Because your purpose wasn't meant to please everyone. It was meant to wake something up in the world, something only you can offer. But we've been trained to conform since childhood. Fit in, blend in, don't stand out too much. Don't rock the boat, don't be too bold, too sensitive, too ambitious, too weird, too much. So we shrink, we play it small, we silence the part of us that wants more, and we call it being realistic. But being realistic isn't always wisdom. Sometimes, it's just fear in disguise. Think about this. What have you avoided? Not because it wasn't meant for you, but because it scared you. What talents have you hidden? What dreams have you buried? Just to feel accepted, just to avoid standing out. You were never meant to be like everyone else. You were meant to be fully yourself. Even if that means being misunderstood. Even if that means being the only one walking your path. Every person who ever lived with purpose faced this fear and chose to move forward anyway. They didn't wait for the fear to disappear. They just stopped letting it decide. Fear doesn't go away, but you can learn to move with it, to breathe through it, to let it be a passenger, not the driver, because your life's mission is too important to be held hostage by fear. Let me tell you something powerful. The moment you stop trying to fit in, you start to stand out. And that's where purpose begins. In that bold, uncomfortable, liberating space where you finally give yourself permission to be who you are. That's when doors open. That's when energy returns. That's when life starts to feel like it matters again. So ask yourself, what would I do if I wasn't afraid of being different? What would I create? Who would I become? What kind of life would I start living if I no longer needed approval to do it? The answers might scare you, but they'll also guide you. And in the next part, we'll uncover another hidden reason why most people stay stuck, even when they're no longer afraid. It's not about fear this time. It's about chasing the wrong thing. Not purpose, but success. The kind that looks good, but leaves you feeling empty. Here's the part nobody tells you. You can be successful and still feel lost. You can have the job, the money, the title, the recognition, and still lie in bed at night, feeling like something's missing, because success isn't the same as significance. And chasing one doesn't guarantee you'll find the other. Most people spend their whole life chasing success, because that's what the world rewards. You get praised for achievements, for climbing ladders, for winning awards, for getting ahead, and somewhere along the way, you start to believe that this is it. That the purpose of life is to be seen as successful, to be admired, to be validated. But deep down, success without meaning is just another kind of emptiness. You see, your soul doesn't crave applause. It craves alignment. It craves depth. It craves the feeling that what you're doing actually matters. But we live in a world that pushes speed over stillness, performance over peace, and image over integrity. So we trade meaning for momentum, purpose for productivity, impact for impressions, And we wonder why it still doesn't feel right. There's a story behind this. Of a man who climbed the ladder of success for 30 years. Worked non-stop, built his career, earned the respect of everyone around him. But one day, he realized the ladder he climbed was leaning against the wrong wall. He had everything, except the one thing that truly mattered. A sense of why. You can succeed at something you were never meant to do. And the world will call you great. While your soul quietly calls out, asking, is this all there is? You can win the game and still feel like you've lost yourself. That's why discovering your purpose requires you to ask better questions. Not just, how do I get ahead? But, why do I even want to? What am I chasing? And what will I actually feel when I get there? Sometimes, you have to slow down. To get real, to ask yourself the uncomfortable question. What if everything I'm building isn't what I'm meant to build? What if my definition of success isn't mine at all, but something I inherited from a culture, a system, a fear? And what if I stopped chasing what looks good and started building a life that feels good, feels true, feels like me? Purpose doesn't always come with applause. It won't always get you awards, but it will give you something deeper. Peace, clarity, a sense of knowing you're exactly where you need to be, doing what only you were meant to do. In the next part, we'll uncover a deeper layer. The part of purpose most people never touch. Because it's uncomfortable, it's vulnerable, it's quiet. We'll talk about the one thing that opens the door to clarity. But most people avoid it. Inner work. Let's get honest. You can't find your purpose without doing the inner work. That's the part nobody wants to hear. Because inner work is not flashy. It's not quick. It's not something you can post about or measure in numbers. It's quiet, uncomfortable, deep, and absolutely necessary. Most people spend their whole life trying to fix their outer world. They want better jobs, better habits, better results, but they never take time to look inside. They never ask, what beliefs are holding me back? What wounds am I still carrying? What stories am I telling myself that keep me small? They try to change their life without changing their core. But here's the truth. Purpose doesn't live on the surface. It lives in the soul. And you'll never reach it if you keep avoiding the work within. Inner work means slowing down long enough to feel what you've been avoiding, to face the pain you've buried, to question the roles you've been playing, just to survive. It means sitting with the version of you that's scared, that's tired, that's unsure. It means healing what's broken, not just pretending it's fine. And when you do that, something begins to shift. You start to hear yourself again. You start to feel more whole, more honest, more clear. Think of it this way. You can't see your reflection in a stormy ocean. But if the water gets still, even for a moment, you begin to recognize yourself again. That's what inner work does. It stills the chaos, so you can see what's been true all along. And from that place of honesty, purpose begins to rise. Not forced, not faked, but real and alive. Some people spend decades searching for answers outside books, podcasts, seminars, coaches, but they never ask the most important guide of all, themselves. Your soul already knows, but it can't speak clearly until you're willing to listen deeply. That means journaling. That means reflecting. That means facing truths. That means doing the work that no one sees, but that changes everything. And here's the beautiful part. When you start doing that work, life begins to align in ways that feel almost magical. Doors open, opportunities show up, not because you forced them, but because you finally became the kind of person who's ready to receive them. Clarity comes, not all at once, but piece by piece, like a puzzle that only fits once you start being honest about who you really are. So ask yourself, when was the last time you looked inward? Not to criticize, but to understand, not to fix, but to feel. When was the last time you honored the parts of yourself that you've been hiding? Maybe that's why purpose feels so far away. Not because it is, but because you've been running from the place it lives. And in the next part, we'll explore one final reason why most people never live their mission. It's not fear. It's not noise. It's not even clarity. It's this. They're waiting for permission. This one might hit hard, because a lot of people don't even realize they're doing it. But one of the biggest reasons people never live their purpose is simple. They're waiting for permission, waiting for someone to say, yes, you're allowed to do this. Yes, you're good enough. Yes, you're ready. Yes, you're qualified. But here's the truth. That permission may never come. And it doesn't have to. We've been trained from the beginning to wait. Raise your hand. Wait your turn. Follow instructions. Don't move unless you're told. And that mindset carries into adulthood. So when it comes to doing something bold, something personal, something different, we freeze. We wait for someone to approve it. We wait until the timing is perfect. We wait until the fear disappears. We wait for a sign, an invitation, a guarantee. But purpose doesn't come with guarantees. It comes with risk. It comes with courage. It comes when you stop waiting and start moving. You do not need a certificate to start living your mission. You don't need to be an expert to begin making an impact. You just need to care deeply, move honestly, and take one step, even if your voice shakes. The people who change the world aren't always the most talented or the most connected. They're the ones who stopped waiting. They gave themselves permission to begin. Think about this. How many dreams have you delayed because you were waiting for a moment that never arrived? How many ideas have you buried because someone else didn't believe in them, so you stopped believing in them too? But what if that belief was supposed to start with you? What if the moment you've been waiting for is actually waiting for you? Here's something powerful. You don't need a map to begin the journey. You just need to take one honest step, and then the next, and then the next. Purpose isn't a destination, it's a direction, and the only way to find it is to start walking. So stop waiting for permission, for validation, for certainty. Stop waiting and start becoming. In the final part of this video, we'll bring it all together, everything we've uncovered, and we'll explore one final question. If 90% of people never find their purpose, how can you make sure you're part of the 10% who do? We'll talk about the shift that changes everything, and how to start living from that place. Right now, where you are, with exactly what you have. So here we are. You've made it through the noise, the fear, the pressure to chase success, the discomfort of looking within, the trap of waiting for permission. And now there's one final shift that separates the 90% from the few who truly live their purpose. It's this. They stop asking, "What do I want from life?" And they start asking, "What does life want from me?" That shift changes everything. Because now, it's not just about chasing dreams. It's about becoming someone who serves something greater. You move from getting to giving, from surviving to creating, from existing to living with mission. Because purpose isn't just about you, it's about what flows through you to the world around you. The most fulfilled people you'll ever meet aren't the ones with perfect lives. They're the ones who know why they wake up in the morning. They're connected to something deeper, something that energizes them, something that challenges them, something that matters. And that something often begins small. It's a quiet pull, a small action, a conversation that sparks something inside you. It's not a lightning bolt. It's more like a steady flame that grows as you feed it, day by day, choice by choice. So if you've been searching, don't wait for some grand revelation. Start where you are. Look around and ask, what breaks my heart? What lights me up? What keeps me curious? What do I feel called to do, even if it scares me? And then act, small but honest, because clarity comes from movement, not overthinking. Here's what you need to remember. Your purpose isn't out there, waiting to be found like some treasure buried in the sand. It's already inside you, waiting to be remembered, to be lived, to be expressed. And the only thing standing between you and that life of purpose is the choice to begin. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing to live with intention, to show up with heart, to move with courage. That's the shift. That's the power. That's the path. And if you do that, you won't just find your purpose. You'll become it. If something in this video stirred something in you, if it made you pause, reflect, or see your life differently, don't let that feeling fade. This is your moment, not to just think, but to act, to step forward into the version of you that's been waiting to rise. Hit that like button if this spoke to your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this today. And subscribe to Powerful Mission, where every week, we go deeper into the truth, the purpose, and the power you were born to live. This isn't just a channel. It's a movement, a space for people who refuse to settle, who know they're here for something greater. Your mission matters, your time is now, and your story is just beginning.